It is now 9 o'clock, the time in which we said we would start. And so we will now start. It might be 9:01, sorry, we're running a little late. Welcome to Write the Docs, the 4th year. So this all started as a crazy idea about 4 years ago, and now it has grown into a wonderful room of people. So thank you all for coming. Just to get this stuff out of the way, logistics. There are bathrooms downstairs. There are also bathrooms upstairs. They're not on this floor so that we can have this wonderful, massive ballroom take up the whole area. In the afternoon, there'll be an unconference downstairs in Lola's room. So if you took the welcome wagon tour this morning, you already know where that is. But yeah, it's just second floor, kind of across from the bathrooms down the hallway. It's a really cool space. There's like 12 or 15 tables. Lots of people have really good conversations. There's a board down there where we'll be scheduling all of the unconference stuff. So if you want to talk about something and you want to have people join you, go down there and sign up. We're not doing questions after talks. We tried that out last year and it worked really, really well. We do ask the speakers to come down in the front of the stage. We put 10 minutes in between every talk to switch, and that also lets you have time to come up and ask questions one-on-one. And there's Wi-Fi, so it is just the Write the Docs network. So, what is Write the Docs? Write the Docs is a community conference. It has very much been inspired by open source conferences like PyCon, OS Bridge, things like this. It's for the people in the community, and it's really just a place to get together and meet other people like you. And that's really the function of being here in this room with other humans, is connecting with them and getting to know them well. So this is the 4th year. I'm officially labeling it version 2.0. This is very exciting. That's like, we still have no idea what we're doing, but we're like pretty confident we're shipping something that might work. But yeah, we're slowly understanding how to do this, and we're always trying new things, and we're keeping the stuff that works. But please let us know if there's ways we can do things better. There's stuff that's crazy that doesn't work, or you have ideas. Please let us know. If we can accommodate it during the event, we'll try our best, and we're always trying to make stuff better. So please, the event only gets better with your feedback and your help. So your job here, the first thing is to make friends. We're in a room with other really awesome people. Connect with them and become friends. It's so much more fun to have friends in an industry that you work in, that you know from all around the country and around the world. We have some people here from Tasmania. I think you'll probably know when they get up to speak. It'll be pretty obvious. But yeah, no, it's just a room full of really interesting people. We are here to learn stuff, right? But make friends, watch the talks, learn stuff. It's gonna be amazing. And also have fun, right? This is a professional event, but that doesn't mean it's not fun. We can do both of these things at the same time. And along those lines, we've had a code of conduct every year, and the way that we kind of envision this community is the way that you make it, right? Every year, I come to this room and I tell people, the way that you act at this event is how this event will be, right? It is your job to make this event what it is. So you need to be welcoming, you need to be open, supportive, and also positive. And these are just kind of the ways that we envision the Write the Docs community to be, and I think every year people have really done an amazing job of kind of living up to these values, so don't screw it up. No, everyone here is just fantastic, and that's really what makes the community so amazing, is the people. So please just, if somebody's new, welcome them in, make sure you include them in your conversations, and just make this a really, really supportive, awesome place to be. So the best way I've found to kind of think about this is when you see a group of 3 people, and they're standing and they're having a conversation, your job is to go up and join that conversation. I know it's really scary. I'm an introvert, it is terrifying. But the conference will be so much better. And when you're in a group of 3 people, leave room, or more than 3, leave room for people to join your conversation, right? Don't stand in circles, stand in little Pac-Man shaped, 3/4 circles, so that people can join in, right? It just makes the invite, that is the most kind of fundamental inviting into a conversation that you can achieve. So think about that. Like, join conversations with people you don't know, because they're going to be awesome. So, like I said, we have a code of conduct. And this is the point where I would like to invite all of the organizers up onto stage. So from the end, we have Adrian, Jennifer, Sam, Nick, Kelly, Anthony, and Becky. This event would not be possible without them, and if you have any issues related to code of conduct, questions, anything like that, these are the humans that you should be talking to. We all have, well, I took my lanyard off because I'm fancy. We all have fancy, bright-colored lanyards, so you can find us in the crowd. So if you have any issues, anything you need to report, anything, if you have suggestions, really anything you need, these folks and also all of the volunteers will similarly have lanyards that are colored as well. So that is who you need to talk to, and these are the wonderful people who made this event possible. So thank them again. And there's a lot of talk about code of conducts in the industry, and I really just want to say that that is like the base minimum of what we expect, right? It is a way for us to set expectations about what will get you thrown out. What we actually expect of our attendees is so much more, and that's what I was talking about before. So really just, make this the place that you want it to be and be welcoming and inviting to everyone, and the conference will be delightful. All right, so a little recap. On Saturday, we went on a hike. This was the jazz hands photo during the hike. It only rained on us for like 5 minutes, which is a Write the Docs hike record. Yeah, it's super fun. So if folks are going to come back next year, I do recommend coming in for the weekend. The hike is always beautiful and super fun. Yesterday, from 9 to 6, we had the writing day over at Central Office. I think we had maybe 100 people there, just working on different projects, doing all sorts of cool stuff. We did that last year for the first time, and it did it again this year, and it seemed to work well, so it's probably going to be around for a while. And then last night we had the reception from 6 to 9, just so people could have somewhere to go when they got into Portland and meet all the other attendees and just have some fun. So the rest of the program here today. We have lightning talks. Their sign up is in the back at registration. I think we have 12 slots, which used to be enough, but now the conference is growing, and so I have a feeling there's going to be some people who aren't going to make it. But yeah, if you have a talk to give, please go back and sign up. Downstairs in LOLA'S room, again, in the afternoons, is the unconference. In the mornings, it's just kind of a place to hang out and decompress and kind of be alone. If you need to go down there, feel free, if you need to answer emails or something. And we are going to have an online version of the unconference schedule so that you can check to make sure, see what's going on without going down and looking at the board. We'll put that up here soon. So this year, we had some things that we're trying out for the first time, so kind of things that we're experimenting with. So yesterday, we actually had an API documentation meetup kind of happening at the writing day. For people that went, was that good, happy, fun? Do it again? Cool. Yeah, so I think that's something that we tried yesterday. This afternoon, we're trying a panel for the first time. We'll see how that goes. It should be good. We have some really awesome people from Twitter, Microsoft, Google, being like, hey, here's how we're changing how we do all of our docs. And some people from startups and a couple other just really awesome folks just talking about that stuff. We're also doing some 15-minute talks as well as 30-minute talks. We're calling those thunderstorms. Just that we always get way more talks than we can fit on stage every year. And this is a way to kind of condense them down and get a few more talks in. And a 15-minute talk, it just kind of breaks up the pace of the day and they're fun. This is the first year we've had a Slack channel, so I think there's like 450 people in it, so most of the people here are probably already there. Please, the Slack does have a code of conduct. Please, treat it as a conference event. But it's a great place to kind of chat with people, meet up. Especially if you meet people here and you want to stay in contact, it's a really nice way to kind of have a direct point of contact for them. The welcome wagon is another thing, is trying to just make the conference as welcoming as possible to people here for the first year. And so we did some cool stuff there, like the bingo cards. Hopefully everybody has their bingo card. I'm pretty happy about that. You win a cool bookmark if you win at bingo. So, I mean, you gotta play, right? But yeah, it's just full of really, really cool ideas of how to get the most out of the conference. So I do recommend playing bingo even if you don't want to play bingo. All right, and then of course the thanks. This conference would never be possible without our sponsors. So Twilio, Google, GitHub, I'm gonna forget the other two. Mozilla, MDN, and Open News. All of our sponsors are just amazing. And they really help us make the event as awesome as it is. The speakers, of course, all the people who put time in to crafting these talks and getting up on this stage and just sharing so much information with us. The volunteers and staff and organizers, and also the attendees, right? I think attendees don't get as much credit as they should. Like, this room would be nothing if it was empty, right? Like the fact that you are all here and you choose to come to this event and you make it what it is really the magic of it, right? Like, the people that come and make the conference a conference is super important. So thank you for coming and thinking that the conference is worth your time, and I think it's gonna be amazing, but thank you all. All right, so that was the first talk I'm giving. I will now give a 7-minute and 40-second lightning talk on just kind of the community around Write the Docs. Every year we do this conference and it's like, wow, this was so amazing, but like, what does it mean? And I think it's the 4th year and we're kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, we have to start thinking about like what Write the Docs as a group of people means. And I wanted to put this forward at the beginning of the event, just to give people time to kind of think about it and talk about it and just be like, what is this thing that we're doing and we just did? So where are we as a community, right? We have 400 people that come to an event in Portland every year. We have an event in Europe that gets about 250 in Prague in September that you should come to as well. And I believe we have 15 meetups, but we have about 7 that are really kind of continually going all the time. And there's a couple missing from this map, actually. I should have updated it. But we have a couple in Austin and Boulder, a bunch on the West Coast, and kind of more happening in Europe. And there's about 1,500 people in all of those different meetups. And so that's really, really cool to see. And I'd love to see more of that. So Mike's going to be giving a lightning talk a little bit later, I think maybe tomorrow, about more information about all the meetups. He also gave a talk a couple years ago about how to start a meetup. So we'd love to get more people out there, engaging in their local community and kind of bringing this experience back to your city and being able to do it, every month or every couple months. We also, when we started, Eric Redmond coined the term documentarian. So I'm just curious, who in the room likes that term? Who in the room doesn't like that term? Okay. Who in the room doesn't like that term because it already means something for someone else? Okay. So that's like 30% of the people that don't like it. So we kind of came up with this word because it's like, we need to think of something that describes people who care about documentation, but don't necessarily do it as a job, right? Like, you have technical writers who sit all day and write documentation or, are involved and that's what they do. But there's also a whole other subset of people in the industry who care about this that also, they don't have a way to identify, right? So we were really trying to figure out a way to kind of think about how do I identify as someone that cares about this problem? And how do we need a word for it, right? And so this is kind of the word that we came up with. I think it's pretty much stuck for now. But I'd really love to hear people talking about it, and if you have other suggestions on how to kind of promote this word and really just this more of the concept. The word's really just a vessel for the idea. But just thinking more about like, hey, I'm a programmer who really cares about documentation. What do I call myself, right? And then one of the other big ones after this year is I want to get the people on this stage to go to other stages and kind of spread the gospel, right? We're in a room talking about documentation to people that care about documentation. We need to go to rooms where people don't know they care about documentation yet and convince them that they care about documentation, right? Like going to support events, going to programming events, going to project management, all of the other kind of facets of open source, of software development in general. Like, I would love to see more talks about documentation, and I'm hoping kind of to use Write the Docs as a way to kind of distribute those things, right? So have a bunch of people who are really awesome speakers that talk about these topics and having them go out to other events and speak there. Because I really do think it's more important to kind of like take the messages that we're telling ourselves and going out into the wider community and really starting to like, you know, impact that as well. And along those lines, every year I think it's really interesting. So who here is kind of primarily employed as a tech writer? Okay, so like 60%. Who's kind of a programmer or a dev of some sort? All right, so like 15%, and like support, staff, designer type people. All right, you can clap for them, it's cool. So like maybe 10% as well. And I think that's something that's really important, right? And then who here is not represented in one of those three groups? And what are you? Yell. Librarians. Oh, I love librarians. They're the best. Librarians have been thinking about this stuff for like hundreds of years. Like they're crazy. It's so cool. Like we need more librarians, right? Like I'd love, there's at least 3. I've met 3 that are here. But yeah, there's so many different people at this event. And that's super, super important. And so please, if you're thinking about coming next year, definitely invite someone who's not of the same job title, and just like make sure that we're able to kind of maintain that diversity and have a room full of really, really interesting perspectives. Because I think it's super important, and it's a big part of why I think Write the Docs is special, is because it is a room full of people that don't do the same thing. And so where we're going from here, as you might know, this room is about full. We could fit a couple more people, but really I think 400 is about the max. And so one of the things we're thinking about is so when communities and conferences get to this point, you basically have to choose to grow bigger and go into really boring conference center venues, which I really don't want to do, or split them and go into different events. So basically what we're thinking about doing is doing an East Coast and a West Coast conference next year. But this is not a promise that this is going to happen. This is a request for you to help me make this happen. So if you're on the East Coast, like we're mostly West Coast based at this point. We have one organizer who now lives in DC. But if there are other people that are that's Jennifer, if you want to talk to her. If there's other people on the East Coast, or you know people that are interested in either sponsoring or helping to make this event happen out there, it'd be awesome to introduce them to us. Or if you're that person. Because yeah, I don't want to make this conference any bigger, because once they get above about 400, 350 people, they lose that sense of intimacy. And I just love this amount of people because it's really like approachable and awesome. So that's the other real thing, is just trying to kind of define what Write the Docs is and what makes us special. And so that's really what I'm curious about from you all. We're going to send out a feedback form at the end of the conference. I'm really just curious about like how you would describe this event so that we can make sure that when we move it to the East Coast and our European events, and we have some other people asking about making smaller one-day events in other places, how we export this culture and kind of what we're doing here to make sure that we're able to kind of maintain that as it does grow. So I'm really just hoping that folks will think about that a little bit, maybe have a conversation about it, like, what is this place and how is it? And please, like, tell us. We'll send you a feedback form at the end. So that is my opening and introduction and call for help. Please stay in touch throughout the event. We have a Write the Docs Twitter account, and then if you're tweeting or doing any kind of Instagram, social media, just use the Write the Docs hashtag. And with that, we're going to have a 10-minute break, and then we will be up with our first speaker. So once again, thank you for coming, and have fun.